In 1965, a woman in Columbus, Ohio made dinner for her family of 5 every night for under $2. She never used a recipe card. Everything lived in her hands. Number 7 on this list costs 49 cents to make and feeds 6 people. Number 3 was so popular that Campbell's Soup printed it on the back of every can for 20 years because customers kept calling the company line asking for it. Number 1 is the dish every woman on your block was making on Friday nights without fail, and almost nobody makes it anymore. These dinners didn't disappear because they weren't good enough. They disappeared because food companies spent 40 years convincing American families that cooking from scratch was too hard, too slow, and too old-fashioned. It wasn't. It never was. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell before we start. Let's count down the 15 forgotten housewife dinners from the 1960s that deserve to come back. Number 15. Tuna noodle casserole. Every Friday during Lent, and then most other Fridays, because everyone liked it too much to stop. 1 can of tuna, 1 can of cream of mushroom soup, a bag of egg noodles cooked soft, all stirred together in a baking dish with a handful of frozen peas for color. Then the moment that made it, a full sleeve of crushed Ritz crackers mixed with melted butter spread across the top, baked until the kitchen smelled like something was happening. A can of tuna cost 49 cents in 1965. The whole dish fed 6 people for under $1. The cracker crust was the only thing standing between a decent casserole and a great one. She always used the whole sleeve. Number 14. Hamburger stroganoff. The Russian original called for beef tenderloin and a proper kitchen brigade. Your mother made it in 25 minutes on a Tuesday with a pound of ground beef and a can of cream of mushroom soup. She browned the beef with onion, drained the fat, and added the soup. At the very end, she stirred in a cup of sour cream so it would not break, and then ladled it over egg noodles. 59 cents a pound for ground beef in 1966. Women's magazines called this economical entertaining. Your mother called it Tuesday, and it was exactly right every time she made it. Number 13. Pigs in blankets. Not the cocktail version in crescent dough, the dinner version. Thin slices of beef, wrapped tight around a spoonful of seasoned rice, browned in a skillet, then braised slowly in a pot of tomato sauce for a full hour until the rice cooked through and the meat turned tender. The whole house smelled like Sunday dinner by 5 o'clock. Ground beef was 59 cents a pound in 1965, and 1 pound of filling fed a family of 4 with enough for tomorrow's lunch. Toothpick removal was your job when you were 6. You took it very seriously. Number 12. Chicken a la king. This dish started in hotel dining rooms in the 1920s and landed in every suburban kitchen in America by the time Kennedy was president. Diced cooked chicken, always left over from Sunday's roast, in a cream sauce with mushrooms, pimentos, and green pepper, spooned over toast points or those frozen patty shells from a box that puffed up gold in the oven. The pimentos were non-negotiable. Without them, it was just chicken in white sauce, which was a different and lesser thing. The jar of pimentos was always in the door of the refrigerator. It was always half empty. It was always enough. And if this is bringing back something from your own kitchen table, hit subscribe and ring the notification bell. We've got decades of forgotten American dinners left to uncover together. Number 11. Ham and scalloped potatoes. The dish that turned Easter leftovers into something that felt entirely new. Thin sliced potatoes layered in a buttered casserole dish with diced ham, covered with a white sauce made from butter, flour, and whole milk, seasoned with mustard powder and salt. Baked covered for an hour, then uncovered for 15 minutes until the top spotted brown and the edges bubbled up the sides. It came to the table still making noise. Ham cost 39 cents a pound in 1964. The whole casserole fed 6 for under $1.50. It wasn't a leftover meal. It was a Tuesday meal that happened to use leftovers. There's a difference, and she understood it. Number 10. Welsh rarebit. Sharp cheese melted down with a splash of beer, or Worcestershire sauce when beer felt like too much of a statement. Dry mustard and a pinch of cayenne were stirred in until the mixture was thick, then poured hot over toasted bread. That was it. 35 cents of cheese in 1963 turned into something that tasted considerably more expensive. Welsh rarebit was the dinner she made when the grocery money was running low, and she refused to show it. She'd set the table properly and call it a Welsh specialty. Nobody asked questions. Nobody left anything on their plate. Number 9. Porcupine meatballs. The name came from what they looked like when they were done. Ground beef mixed with uncooked white rice and simple seasonings, rolled into balls the size of a golf ball, dropped into a pot of tomato sauce, and simmered for a full hour. As they cooked, the rice expanded inside the meat and pushed through the surface like tiny quills. Hence the name. Your mother thought the name was ridiculous. She made them anyway because you asked for them by name every single week, and she was not going to say no to a child who was enthusiastic about dinner. 59 cents a pound for ground beef in 1965. One pot, no side dish needed because the rice was already inside. Your mother appreciated that more than you knew at the time. Here is something the food companies don't want you to think about. In 1955, a food industry consultant told General Mills that women felt guilty using boxed mixes. The solution was not to make the product better. The solution was to convince women that scratch cooking was outdated. By 1970, women's magazines had quietly replaced their from-scratch dinner sections with full pages of quick assembly recipes built entirely around branded products. A generation of home cooks was told their mother's methods were inconvenient and old-fashioned. But the beef stroganoff that took 25 minutes from scratch was not harder than the boxed version. It was better. The salmon loaf that cost 39 cents fed more people than a frozen dinner that cost twice as much. The casseroles on this list were not shortcuts. They were solutions. And the women who made them were not relics. They were cooks. Number 8. Salmon loaf. A can of pink salmon with the bones mashed right in because they are soft and nobody will notice, mixed with breadcrumbs soaked in milk, 1 egg, diced onion, and a squeeze of lemon. Packed into a loaf pan and baked for 45 minutes until firm and golden on top. Served with a cream sauce or with lemon wedges arranged on the plate because presentation mattered to her even on a Wednesday. Canned salmon cost 39 cents in 1963. It looked like nothing. It tasted like a cook who knew exactly what she was doing. Those are not always the same thing. In this case, they were. Number 7. Swiss steak. Not a fancy cut. Never was. Round steak, the cheapest beef in the case at 49 cents a pound in 1964, pounded with a meat mallet, dredged in flour, browned hard on both sides in a cast iron skillet, then braised low for 2 hours in a pot with canned tomatoes, onion, and green pepper. The flour dissolved into the braising liquid and thickened it into a rich, tomatoey gravy that the meat collapsed into when you touched it with a fork. 2 hours of patience turned the cheapest piece of beef in the butcher case into something that smelled like it had been cooking all day. It had. Served over mashed potatoes, it was the dinner that made everyone go quiet for the first few bites. That silence was the compliment she never got tired of. Number 6. Chipped beef on toast. The military called it something unprintable. Your mother called it a quick dinner. Thin shaved dried beef from a small glass jar, sautéed in butter until the edges crisped, stirred into a thick white sauce, and poured over sliced white toast. Done in 12 minutes. The jar cost 29 cents in 1962 and fed 4 people. Nobody raved about chipped beef on toast. Nobody ever left any on their plate. That combination, unremarkable and reliable and always finished, was the quiet backbone of the 1960s dinner table. Most families ate it once a week. Most of them have forgotten they ever did. Number 5. Chicken divan. This one she brought out when company was coming. Broccoli spears in a buttered baking dish, cooked chicken on top, covered with a sauce of cream of chicken soup, mayonnaise, lemon juice, and curry powder, just enough to make someone ask what that flavor was without being able to name it. Breadcrumbs and butter on top, baked until golden. She served it with white rice and a look that said she'd been cooking for hours. She had been cooking for 35 minutes. Guests asked for the recipe every single time. She always said she'd send it. She almost never did. Number 4. Spanish rice with ground beef. Not Spanish, not Mexican. What you found on a Tuesday night in 1966 in a kitchen in Ohio when she needed to stretch half a pound of ground beef to feed 5 people without anyone noticing. Browned beef with onion and green pepper, uncooked white rice stirred in, canned tomatoes, water to cover, lid on, and simmered until every grain absorbed the meat and tomato and turned deep brick red. 1 pan, $1, 5 people. The rice did not sit beside the meat. The rice became the meat. That was the trick, and she knew it cold. Number 3. Green bean casserole. Campbell's Soup Test Kitchen invented this recipe in 1955 and printed it on the back of every can of cream of mushroom soup for the next 20 years. By 1965, it was on every Thanksgiving table in America, and women across the country were making it on regular Tuesdays because the family asked for it. Green beans from a can, cream of mushroom soup, a splash of milk, French fried onions across the top, baked until they crisped and darkened. Under 60 cents in 1966. Today, restaurant versions with fresh beans and homemade bechamel go for $14 a side. Your mother's version took 8 minutes. You know which one tasted better. Number 2. Beef and noodle bake. Every family called it something different. American chop suey in New England, goulash in the Midwest, slumgullion everywhere else. The recipe was always the same. Ground beef browned with onion, egg noodles, canned tomatoes, shredded cheddar across the top, baked until the cheese melted and the edges went crisp. 59 cents of beef in 1966, done in 40 minutes. It tasted better the next day, reheated in a pan with a little extra butter. She always made a double batch. She said it was for leftovers. You understood later it was for sanity. Number 1. The Friday night fish fry. In Catholic households across America in the 1960s, Friday was fish. No discussion, no alternatives. She took whatever white fish was cheapest at the market that week, cod, haddock, or pollock. She dipped it in egg wash, dredged it in seasoned breadcrumbs, and fried it in a cast iron skillet until both sides turned golden. Tartar sauce from scratch, mayonnaise, diced pickles, and a squeeze of lemon. Coleslaw dressed with apple cider vinegar and sugar. Cod was 39 cents a pound in 1965. The whole meal cost under $2 for a family of 6. It smelled like every Friday of your childhood. The sizzle when the fish hit the oil. The smell that reached the front door before you even came inside. If you grew up in a house where this happened every single week without exception, you do not need to close your eyes to be back at that table. You are already there. These 15 dinners fed entire families on budgets that would make a modern grocery shopper give up before reaching the meat counter. They came out of kitchens with 1 oven and no dishwasher, made by women who had already put in a full day before they ever touched a pan. They were on the table before the evening news. Every single night. Make one of these this week. The tuna noodle casserole with the full sleeve of Ritz crackers on top. The hamburger stroganoff on a Tuesday night. The green bean casserole on a random Thursday because you do not need to wait for November. Sit down at the table with it. Tell me in the comments which one your mother made. Tell me what she called it. Tell me what it smelled like when you came through the door after school. Because some of you can still smell it. That smell is worth more than any recipe that got thrown away.